Hello and welcome back to FRAG-MENTAL. Thank you very much for joining me. Are you interested in Parfums Vintage? Do you want to find out what these two lovely fragrances are? If you do, stay tuned to FM. A good few weeks ago now, Parfums Vintage sent me some samples, like a lot, I think about 10 or so, and it's always nice to get something through the mail, especially when it's unexpected. But I opened up the package and I thought, okay, that's quite a lot of testing to do, and it was, but I enjoyed working my way through them. Always a little bit cryptic when Parfums Vintage fragrances arrive because they never tell you when they're coming, they never tell you what they are interpretations of, and the names aren't so on the nose that you'd instantly know which fragrances are the original. So it's always a nice little puzzle when Parfums Vintage send stuff through, but I like the challenge. I did try out all of these samples and I made a little video of a few quick impressions of what I thought of them whilst I was in the Alps. So I did wear a lot of them while I was doing a mountain biking trip. You can watch that video up here if you haven't seen that already. So they said to me I could choose a couple of bottles for review. Ones that I didn't choose that I really enjoyed that just stand out to me now thinking back was their interpretation of Paco Rabanne Invictus Aqua. I believe their Aqua and Aqua Intense are interpretations of the 2016 Invictus Aqua, which is no longer available. So if you're a fan of that juice and or you've not tried it and you just fancy trying it, then really nice. The other one I enjoyed was Pour Homme and Pour Homme Intense, which are interpretations, I believe, of Gucci Envy. Really enjoyed that one as well, but ones I like just a tiny little bit more are the ones that I chose, and they are Summer Bottled Intense and Isla Tropical Prive. So I'm going to talk to you about those two right now. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Summer Bottled Intense. I looked at this sample, I looked at the name, and no idea, absolutely no idea what this was an interpretation of. I sprayed it. Wow, I kind of didn't really care what it was an interpretation of because it just blew me away. Really nice juice, a DNA that I'm not familiar with, that I haven't smelled before. So I did my little problem solving, my little Parfums Vintage puzzle, and I worked out what this one was interpretation of based on the notes. And the original is by the house FRAG-MENTAL. It's called Luminist. I'm totally not familiar with anything from the house or this fragrance, so that's why I didn't recognize this. So yeah, got a sample of this just so I could do a bit of a comparison, just to make the review hopefully a little bit more informative for you. So let's look at the bottle, which is the usual Parfums Vintage style, and the notes in this. It's classed as an aromatic spicy. It's got lemon, bergamot, cardamom, pink and black pepper, juniper, nutmeg, thyme, peony, gin, oak moss and tonka. So after really enjoying the Parfums Vintage, could the FRAG-MENTAL original live up to the hype? Well, yeah, obviously it does. It's a gorgeous fragrance. It's bright, it's fresh, it's got a lovely effervescent pop to the opening. That opening is just sensational. We've got some lively spices in there, and then beneath all that there's some syrupy sweetness. So what you might be wanting to know, particularly if you're a fan of the original, is how does the Parfums Vintage compare? How does it differ? To my nose, it seems to nail the FRAG-MENTAL DNA. Most importantly, it recreates that uplifting and satisfying pop that the original has. I love in this composition the juniper and the refreshing gin and tonic accord that it seems to create. Now, I'm not sure what Parfums Vintage's intentions were with the intense version because they have the regular summer bottle as well. With the intense version, it just seems a bit stronger. I think it seems like a higher concentration, but it seems a little denser, a little heavier. I think perhaps the oak moss and the tonka are more boosted in the intense version. It's a little heavier and denser, and it has more of a syrupy sweetness to it, but it never compromises the elegance of the original DNA. If I was to try and convey to you what this smell reminds me of, I would say it's a cross between a refreshing gin and tonic and a cooling, sweet iced tea. Performance of this one was pretty decent for me. I actually got fairly decent performance off the original from the sample that I used. I had heard that some people had issues with performance, but it was okay for me. However, this one was a little bit better due to what I think is a higher concentration. So I was getting 2 to 3 hours of projection and 8 hours of longevity. So I was easily getting a full day out of this one. Definitely a unisex fragrance. When to wear this, I'd say you could wear this easily all year round, but I do think because it's so refreshing and uplifting, I think it works really well in the summer. And I think it's pretty versatile in terms of occasions to wear this for. The price of this on Parfums Vintage website is $144, which works out around about £118. Now the original Frappin Luministe can be picked up for between £115 and £125. I know that Bloom have it on their website for £125. So in terms of the price per mil, it's pretty similar to the original, but if you have the original or you've tried it and maybe you thought the performance was lacking or you felt like you just wanted that concentration just a little bit higher, then this one is definitely worth sampling. I did get a cheeky little compliment off this one. I was wearing it one day when I was going into a studio to do a voiceover, and the little voiceover booth that I was in, the studio guy who was running the session, he came in to adjust my microphone, and he walked in, he said, "Whoa, Chris, it's smelling good in here." So he really enjoyed it. Of course, I told him what it was. He'd never heard of it, but he might be going to look that one up. So nice compliment off this one. I really enjoy this. I've created a nice scent memory because I was wearing this when I was on a mountain bike trip to the Alps a few weeks ago. I now associate this smell with that holiday. So just as a little side note, if you're going away and you want to recreate a lovely scent memory to a holiday, then buy a new fragrance and wear it for the first time on that holiday, and from that point on, whenever you smell it, you'll have a nice memory attached to it. Alright, the next fragrance from Parfums Vintage I'm going to talk to you about is based on Creed's Virgin Island water. Very popular Creed, people love to wear this one in warmer temperatures. We've got notes of lime and coconut and white rum, and to me it conjures images of sitting under a palm tree on a beautiful tropical white sandy beach drinking a cocktail. Isla Tropical Prive conjures exactly that imagery, but add in a big old pile of juicy limes right next to you on that gorgeous white sandy beach. So to me, Isla Tropical Prive seems to ramp up the lime note on this. The result of that is you do lose a little bit of that smooth, easygoing blend of the original, but it livens up the composition. It's stronger, it's sharper, and gives it a little bit more of a bite. I opted for this Privé or more intense version because I have another interpretation of Virgin Island water that is from Alexandria Fragrances, that is Hawaii Volcano Intense. To me, that one goes the opposite way and it really amps up that coconut, so it has a lovely smooth, almost suntan lotion style. So when I was choosing the one from Parfums Vintage, I went the other way and went for a different version of that DNA. Think of it like this: if the original Virgin Island water is the relaxed day on the beach, then Isla Tropical Privé is maybe as things liven up in the evening, the sun's going down, the music starts, there's fires on the beach, people are dancing around, having a good time. I would say that is just a way of conveying the differences between Virgin Island water and Isla Tropical Privé. Due to the changes in the DNA, I do get better performance than the original Virgin Island water, so I'm getting 2 to 3 hours of projection and then a good 8 hours longevity. So again, this one is going to last you all day. I did get some of this on clothes and it'll last you even longer than that. So that beautiful Virgin Island water DNA does stay with you a little bit longer with this one. In terms of who could wear this, it's definitely unisex and very versatile. It does lend itself to warmer weather, but personally I could easily wear this all year round and for any occasion. It has great versatility. The cost of this is $89 for 50ml. It's not available in 100ml, so that's working out about £78. So if you like Creed's Virgin Island water, but you're interested in something that's a little livelier, a little bit punchier, then I'd recommend trying Isla Tropical Prive. Okay, so there's a bit of information on those two offerings from Parfums Vintage. I've really enjoyed trying those, so thank you for the company for initially sending me the samples and letting me choose the ones I liked the best. Go to their website if you feel like sampling any of these. If you've tried them, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. I know there's a big following for Parfums Vintage. They're just banging out the releases at the moment. There's more and more coming. Since that sample set, I've received even more samples, so I've got even more testing to do, and again, I'm going to find it difficult to decide which ones are my favourite. So really impressed with Parfums Vintage's output at the moment, not only in terms of how many fragrances are coming out, but in terms of the quality of them in general. They seem to be getting something right. So let me know what you think of these if you've tried them. I would love to hear your comments. So would everyone else watching this video. Always useful to have lots of different opinions in the comments and not just mine. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you for watching. Remember, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling good.